Oh, man.
Whether it was on the
Yeah.
field result or off the field, it was just a cool town. Maybe you loved it so much you even thought about moving there one day. Is there just one city you loved going to?
It's just, I can tell you the cities that I don't.
So
and
you
it's the
don't
cold
like it.
cities.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
you don't like the cold.
Growing up in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and then, of course, and then in Texas, the cold thing was never really me.
Yeah.
So definitely didn't like that. But one city, one place that I definitely would say probably is not the place I would want to play in, believe it or not, is Seattle. It was always like an overcast. It was raining. It was drizzling the whole entire time that we was there. I actually had one of my better games.
In Seattle, okay.
I had a great game back in 2001 in that stadium. But it definitely isn't probably the city that I would want to play in.
And that's one of the further cities to fly to too. It's in the Great Northwest. It's all the way out there. It's a long flight, basically from anywhere. So
it seems it's gloomy, raining, and there's always an overcast. So that's just not my type of weather.
Okay, it's not your jam.
Not my jam. But one of my best games, better games.
So if you were ever during your playing days, if you were ever offered a contract to play like in Cleveland or Green Bay, one of these where it's just going to be a disaster weather-wise come end of the season, would you be like, nah, I don't think I'm going to sign for them? Like, is that much of a deterrent for you?
No, not that much, because I'm all business, Yeah.
So if you could extend your career, you'd dip back in, you'd go play in negative 20 degree
Well,
wind
as
chill.
a running back, we also had that rule, the no sleeves rule. So whenever we would go to a team with cold weather, we'd be eyeballing every running back like, you better not go out there with no sleeves on. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a tradition.
Tough guy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But, as you get older and maybe in your 9th or 8th or 10th, you start putting them sleeves on. It's like, man, forget this doggone tradition, It's like, that's for the young guys, Y'all take your sleeves off, But
what else falls to the wayside? Like, as you become a vet, like at what moment did you feel you were a vet?
Well, there was a line, and we've talked about this before. So when I was a rookie, I would always see a line of vets right outside of the training room where the doc was at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting taped, or I'm getting iced, or, I'm getting stem machine or something like that, some kind of treatment. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of sitting there and guys are getting taped, but you see this line collecting. It's like all vets. There's no young guys in there. And you're just like, man, what's going on behind the closed doors? And so when I was younger, the older guys would be like, don't worry, you'll be in that line. Don't worry. And, as my years went on, I'd still see that line. Vets would still be going in there. And what would be happening is that they would be going in there getting a Toradol shot, right? And that shot just basically allows you not to feel whatever pain you have or feel. You don't feel it no more. So you really do feel your comic books. We talked about that, right?
Sure.
You kind of feel like one of those characters.
You feel like Deadpool.
Yeah, you can just do anything, man. Yeah. You can just run and you don't have to stop running. You can run through a brick wall. If you got to go tackle somebody, there's no fear. I'm just going to blow this guy up. Like, that's just kind of the mentality that you're having. And I always told myself, man, I'll never have to get in that line. I stay in shape. I stay on top of things. But it gets a point in time, and for me, it's probably latter years, like around that 7th or 8th year, where you start seeing like, man, I'm not recovering as quickly. I think in 97, when I first started playing ball, I could go play a football game and go play basketball, or just hang out all night and have no sleep or no rest and be ready to do it again and go hit the weights the next morning. Once you get older, man, your body starts telling you no mas. You can't do that no more.
So no more Friday night drinking. Before the games.
If you're smart, you'll drink some sweet tea, maybe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some sweet tea or non-sweet tea. But it gets tough. Like, over the years, your body starts weighing on you. And I think as a player, once your body starts talking to you, and it kind of gives you that. It reminds you of what's going on. I remember during the off season, I was back in San Antonio working out with Bebe. He was one of the guys that I originally started working out with as a trainer.
Okay.
And every year we would go back, we would do like bleachers. We would pull the sled, we would run laps around the stadium. All right. And that was just like the warm up. And then we would work out. And I remember this time where they had us running like, all right, so you run a lap around, the track is 400, right? So we would run like walk a 200 and then run a 200. Then you'd walk a 200 and then you run a 200. And I remember at one point where this particular school was, it had like these trees to where like you could walk like through the middle of the field and kind of like shade yourself behind the trees to make it look like you walked.
Yeah, right.
All around.
I used to take shortcuts in track all the time too. Yeah, sure.
As a player, and you can we'll ask some of the guys.
Okay.
When do they think it comes a time where their body starts telling them that it's probably that time they need to start reconsidering some things? And it's when you start taking shortcuts.
Yep.
As a player. Whether that's lifting weights and you start taking those shortcuts, or it's either showing up for your treatments and you're just like, I'll get the treatment later. That's usually when
don't
your
even want the
you,
treatment to get better.
Yeah, usually, ask a couple of guys. We'll ask a couple of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll start taking those shortcuts on everything. Like even down to like your playbook. Instead of going through knowing, I need to make sure I'm up on all of the things that I need to know as far as the plays, the guys that I'm going against. I need to do a little research online. I need to watch some film. So you can learn a lot by just watching film on a defensive back. A defensive back that stays in his back pedal and it's never playing up close on that line. As a running back, you already know I've got about 5 to 6 yards before that guy's even going to come up. So how I approach that perimeter run, I'm going to be all out flying with no hesitation because I know he doesn't come up to the line of scrimmage. So it's going to give me an opportunity to square my shoulders and get downhill. Whereas if you have some of those stingier cornerbacks that are a little bit more aggressive, they don't mind putting their pads in your business, you're going to run that same track with the same type of speed, but you're a little bit more cautious because at any point that guy could be behind the line of scrimmage. And if he's behind the line of scrimmage, that means he's right in front of your face. So, those are the things that you kind of got to look out for.
Hey, Priest, this is the part of the show where we get to interrupt ourselves, having a conversation with ourselves to talk about how things are never ordinary when you're with Bet365, and it's prediction time. And look, Thanksgiving week, when it comes to the football, National Football League, you got games on Thursday, you got games on Friday, you got games on Sunday. It's just a packed week and an exciting week for NFL fans. But I have to ask you one question before we get into the game we're going to talk about this week. It is the day after Thanksgiving as we talk about this. What's better, the actual Thanksgiving Day meal or the leftovers the next day?
That's a tough one, Mark. And, the reason why I say that is because the day of, you can't wait and you're anticipating that afternoon meal. I don't know how early most people, decide to break into that Thanksgiving meal, whether it's earlier or later. But I can tell you one thing for sure, that day after meal, incredible. The ham, the turkey, the rolls, the green beans, everything, the stuffing, everything is much better on that second day. I can't compare it to like a pizza, but when you warm up that pizza the day after, it's something about it. But this Thanksgiving meal, I'm going with the day after, Mark.
All right. I like it. I like where your head's at. I agree. I mean, I feel like the actual day of is more about who you're with, and having great conversations and hanging out with your family and your friends or whoever you're celebrating with. But when it comes to the actual meal that day after, man, chef's kiss every time. So much to choose from, so much great food. And sometimes it's even better served cold, depending on what it is. You get options. I like it. Not everything's piping hot.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there who celebrated yesterday. I hope you had a good time. And let's get into some football convo, Priest.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Sign up, place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, futures, and so much more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, do you have a gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only, 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, and select parishes in Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
This has been a Playmaker production.